Hey guys! Today I wanted to talk to you about how I began making my own kombucha and how I grew my own Scoby. So, this video is going to be all about kombucha because I can actually share this with my close friends because I know a lot of people who are into healthy eating, and I'm in a lot of vegan Facebook groups, and there's so many times I see people posting how to make your own kombucha class, $35, and you get all the materials you need, and I'm like, huh? Like, such a waste of money. And I know people are trying to make a living, so I feel bad making this. The secret's out. You can make your own kombucha. You don't need to go to a $35 class. But I'm posting this because I'm trying to save money. I am in college. This is my dorm. I don't want to go out and buy kombucha every day, every week, so I can get a little bit of good bacteria in me. So let me just explain what kombucha is for those of you that do not know. So it is a drink that you can buy at most grocery stores or health stores, and basically it's fermented sweet tea. So you take black tea and you mix it with sugar, and then you take a bacteria culture, which is what a Scoby is, and the bacteria eats all the caffeine and the sugar, and it basically poops out all the good stuff. So you're gonna end up with a bunch of healthy acids, vitamins, minerals. It's supposed to improve your digestion, and there's just a bunch of benefits of kombucha. I will actually make a different video because I am still learning. I do not know everything. All I know is that it is something I really wanted to include into my diet, and I recently bought a 6-pack of kombucha bottles, these things, from Costco, $12, which means about $2 per bottle. I was like, huh, it has an interesting taste. I find it to taste like apple cider vinegar a bit, which I hate. But because this one had ginger in it, it kind of had a ginger ale kind of taste to it also, so I like it as long as there's flavoring in it. But the more you drink it, the more you acquire a taste for it. The first bottle I was like, oh. The second bottle I was like, like, okay, and you keep wanting more of it. But I find that's kind of a ginger thing for me. Every time I drink ginger beer, it's like it burns my throat, and then I'm like, wait, I want more. Basically, there is no caffeine or sugar ultimately left in kombucha at the end because the bacteria is supposed to consume it all. So it's not like you're drinking sugar and caffeine because that's not healthy. But drinking kombucha is because it's all the acids, minerals, vitamins, probiotic. To begin making kombucha, you need to get your hands on a Scoby, which is the bacteria culture. It's basically a pancake of bacteria. That is exactly what it looks like, although it looks like it feels like Jello. I have not touched it, and I do not want to yet because my Scoby is still growing. It is still, I'll show you what a Scoby looks like first. Kind of looks cool with its little hairdo, huh? But there is some liquid in there, which kombucha mixed with sweet tea. And here is the Scoby. As you can see, it's still not super thick, but it is getting there. Yeah, so you can see a bunch of bubbles in there because the bacteria floats to the top because of all the CO2 it's producing in there. The reason why I have this over it is because when you're making your kombucha, you're gonna want the bacteria culture or the Scoby to be able to breathe because it is bacteria. If you seal up bacteria, it will not grow. It will die because it needs oxygen most of the time. There's some bacteria that are anaerobic, which means they don't need oxygen, but you're gonna want to give it some air to breathe, and you're gonna want just something to cover it. You're not gonna want to just leave it straight open because then dust can get in there, bugs can get in there, especially because when you're fermenting something, it smells very sweet. So you're gonna want to keep stuff from going in, but you're gonna want them to be able to breathe. So if something does fall in there, chances are you're gonna get really moldy kombucha. It's gonna be spoiled. You're not gonna want to consume that. Otherwise you will end up like this guy.
I think I did it wrong. Jesus, not again. Not again.
To start making your own kombucha, you will need a Scoby. You can actually make your own Scoby. There are so many times that I see people saying you have to get a Scoby from a friend or you have to buy it online. A lot of people fail to mention you can make your own for free, pretty much. You pay $2 for a bottle of kombucha. You're gonna want raw kombucha because if you have pasteurized kombucha, there is no live bacteria in there. And you're also gonna wanna try to get an unflavored kombucha. That is the most popular for making your own because if you have a flavored one when you're making your own Scoby, that flavor can transfer into all your other batches. I used the gingerade one, it works perfect. Somebody else I saw also used the mango one and that worked really good. They think it's just because of how acidic the drinks are that maybe they work better. I used this. I dumped it into that container I showed you, the whole thing. Because I had 6 bottles when I bought my package, I looked for the ones that had the most floaties at the top. And you can even go like this a little bit, mix it up, and check to see which one has the most floaties, because sometimes they sink to the bottom. You're not going to want to shake it because kombucha is a fermented drink. It is carbonated because of the fermentation, so it will explode if you shake it. So you're going to dump that whole thing into a container. You're also going to take 2 bags of black tea. You can also use green tea, but black tea is the best. You're also going to put some sugar in there, 2 tablespoons or 1/4 a cup. So you're going to take that, put it all in there, and you're going to shove it away for 3 weeks, about 3 weeks. You can check it every week like I have been doing. My Scoby has only been in here for 2 weeks, exactly. Less than 2 weeks actually. And it is already pretty thick. I'm pretty happy with it. I'm gonna wait for it to get a tad thicker. And then I'm going to make my first batch of kombucha, which I will also share with you. Right now I'm just kind of telling you everything I know and showing you how to make your own Scoby. So you know, my boyfriend says Scooby, like Scooby-Doo, and I'm like, no, Scoby, Scooby-Who. Anyway, just some basic rules when you're making your kombucha. You need to have clean hands. Like I said, you need nothing to get into there because it's a live bacteria culture. There's something living in there. It cannot get dirty. It cannot get bugs on it. So you're gonna want to wash your hands with hot water, and if you have any vinegar, that's also good. When you have an empty container also, this is what I'm going to be brewing my kombucha in. You're gonna want to wash this out with hot water and vinegar. You can use any kind of vinegar. You can use apple cider vinegar, rice vinegar, straight up white vinegar. You can use old, overly fermented kombucha, so it's very acidic-y like vinegar. You can use any of that to clean it with warm water. Do not use soap. Soap will kill your Scoby, it will kill the bacteria, you will not have kombucha. So you can use a towel to put over your kombucha, your Scoby, whatever you are creating right now, or you can use cheesecloth. The only thing with cheesecloth is you're not going to want to use 1 layer. You're going to want to use like 3 or 4 layers of cheesecloth so nothing can get in there, because cheesecloth has holes in it that you can easily see, whereas towel, you can't see the holes in it. So the kinds of tools you're gonna want to use with making kombucha is a glass jar. Kombucha apparently does not do very good with metal. Unless you have some high-grade stainless steel distillery stuff, you're not gonna want to mess with metal. You're not gonna want to mess with plastic, because the plastic will get absorbed into your drink in the fermentation process, and plastic is a chemical just like soap. It will kill your Scoby and your kombucha. You're not going to want to use a lid. As you noticed on my other thing, I did not use a lid. I just put a towel over it and I put an elastic over it, and that is how you let it breathe. If you're going to use a spoon or something to pull the Scoby out of there or mix in the sugar, you're going to want to use wood or glass if you have any glass spoons or anything, even though that's very rare. But you're going to want to use wood because wood is natural. It will not kill your Scoby, but metal spoons, like metal containers, are not preferred. You're going to want to keep your kombucha out of direct light because the bacteria in there prefers darkness. So you can put it up in your closet in the dark, or up in cupboards, or your basement, I don't know, somewhere dark, probably where you put your potatoes. So there's the first fermentation process, which is basically you get a big container, you fill it with your sweet tea, you put your Scoby that you have created or you bought. Don't buy it, that's a waste of money. Put your Scoby on top of that sweet tea. You're gonna want to use 1 cup of sugar for 1 gallon of tea. Different tea bags make different amounts, so you're gonna have to see how many tea bags you need per gallon. But you're gonna mix up that sugar and that tea, and you're gonna put it in your container, and then you're gonna put the Scoby on top. You're gonna want to put it away for a week or 2, and you can even try some of it. You can pour a little bit out, see if you like the taste. You're not gonna want it to be super sweet, otherwise that is not kombucha. That is caffeine and sugar with a little bit of bacteria. You're gonna want it to taste kind of vinegary, but kind of sweet. There's like this sweet spot when you're making kombucha where it's like sweet and vinegary, super vinegary, and gross probably. It depends on what you like though. Or there's like super sweet and it's not even kombucha, and just keep that thing up in the cupboard and don't touch it. Pour the Scoby and a little bit of kombucha into a container just so the Scoby can stay happy with its food basically. And then you're going to take the container with all your kombucha and you're going to go on to the second fermentation process if you wish, which is when you pour it into bottles like this and then you add flavoring and you seal it shut. And you put it away for a few days. And by a few days, I mean like 2 to 4 days. If you go more than 4 days, the top of the bottle might fly off because of all the carbonation, because of all the carbonatedness. So you're gonna want to burp it if you're gonna put it for more than 4 days, which is basically when you go up to your second fermentation, you pop the lid, it goes and then you shut it, and then you put it back. So when you're going to make your second fermentation, what you're gonna do is take 3/4 a cup, and you're gonna pour that much kombucha into each thing. So maybe this much will be kombucha. And then you're gonna take 1/4 a cup and put fruit juice at the top. So 1/4 a cup is fruit juice, 3/4 a cup is the kombucha. Try to use an unpasteurized juice because like kombucha, when you're making your Scoby, it will kill the bacteria if you use pasteurized juice. Use raw juice. You can even make your own juice by taking frozen berries, blending them up and putting them through some sort of filterization thing. I don't know what those things are called. You know those things people use when they're doing like icing sugar on top of stuff? Yeah, you're just gonna pour it through that and then keep the juice and put that into your drinks. So the second fermentation is when you're gonna wanna seal the jar. You do not need the bacteria in the container to breathe at all in the second fermentation because you're wanting it to bubble and carbonate. And you don't want another Scoby necessarily to form in the second fermentation. You just, because it's already kombucha, you don't need to make it into kombucha anymore. You just need it to bubble up a little bit for those few days when it's not refrigerated. And then after those 3 days or so, you will put it in the refrigerator. This will stop fermentation from happening. And then you can just drink it whenever you please. Cooling something down, like putting it in the fridge, that stops bacteria from growing. That is why we have fridges. That is why we put things in the fridge so bacteria does not form as fast. So that is essentially what you're doing with your second fermentation. Yeah, so this is all the information I know. I will be sure to videotape when I do my first kombucha batch, because I haven't done that yet. But I have 3 of these giant containers that I will hopefully be using. But because I only have 1 Scoby, I think I'm gonna just start out with 1, see how my first batch goes. I can taste it, and then I can move on and start doing more. But, oh, also this is the tea I decided to use. One thing about the tea is you're not gonna want to have oil in it, which I made the mistake of. Oil in tea is what gives tea its flavor typically. What can actually kill your Scoby and the bacteria, so don't use it. Normally it's not the leaves all the time. A lot of times they put oil in there. So that is a mistake I made. It was like chai spice. So just make sure you're gonna typically want just a plain black tea. I could not find a plain black tea that was not more than $12 per box. So I bought a $3 one that happened to have other spices in it. But I figured I would try it out, see what it does. Try to keep everything plain and try to keep everything raw, and you will probably do fine. If you have any questions, leave those down below. This is the end of this video, and I hope it was really helpful and I hope you learned some things. I will be sure to make a few other videos about kombucha, so stay tuned.